admiration, I would like to share few words about the distinguished personality, Mr. Sanjay Sethi. He's a seasoned global food system strategist and board advisor with over 30 years of experience across India, Africa, and Middle East. He's currently serving as advisor to the board of Anjane University, shaping its long-term vision, international partnerships, and sustainability-focused academic model. While previously leading private sector engagement for FAO's GEF7 FOLUR program, where he drove climate resilient agriculture, market linked sustainability, and blended finance solutions. He has been honored with the Africa Food Prize 2013, UAE Chief Sustainability Officer Award 2018 to 19, and a Lifetime Achievement in Agribusiness. Now, I would like to request Mr. Sanjay Sethi sir to please come on the stage.
Thank you for inviting me to share my thoughts. So, before I begin, I would like to ask you that are you more comfortable in Hindi or English? Okay. So English, right? Can you hear? Or this is better? That means this is not working. Okay. Fine. So I'm live now, huh? Okay. This is okay? So do you want a speech or you want to talk to me? Chit chat or speech? आपको मेरे से बात करनी है या आपको मेरी स्पीच सुननी? तो मुझे तो सुनाई नहीं दिया। बात करनी है। कितनों को बात करनी है? हाथ खड़ा करें। सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स है, तो लगभग सभी बच्चों को बात करनी है, राइट? आपको स्टूडेंट कहना पसंद है या बच्चे कहना पसंद है? लेकिन हमारे लिए तो बच्चे ही हैं। तो कितनों को बच्चा कहना बुरा लग रहा है और कितनों को स्टूडेंट कहना पसंद है? ओके। आज मैं जो आपके साथ बात करने आया हूं, सिर्फ ये पता करने के लिए आया हूं कि आप में से कौन है जो कि वो लकीर को पार करके इधर जाएंगे जिस लकीर का नाम है सफलता की सीढ़ी, और कौन वो बेचारे लोग हैं जो नहीं पार कर पाएंगे उसको। तो आप में से मैं जानना चाहता हूं कि कितने लोग उस लकीर को पार कर जाएंगे आपकी दिशा में। आप अपने बारे में नहीं बताइए, अपनी क्लास के बारे में बताइए। सिर्फ स्टूडेंट से मैं बात कर रहा हूं, राइट? आपको क्या लगता है कि आपके जो बाकी स्कूल के, आपके जो कॉलेज के जो बाकी स्टूडेंट्स हैं, कितने लोग सफल हो जाएंगे और कितने लोग सफल नहीं हो पाएंगे? आपकी नजर में आपको क्या लगता है? कोई कुछ बताना चाहेगा? आप बिना माइक के भी बोल सकते हैं। कोई बोलना चाहेगा? हाँ जी, बोलिए मैम। कितने? क्वेश्चन है कितने? नंबर्स, परसेंटेज में बोल सकते हैं। 5%, 50%, 95%, 100%, 10%। कितने लोग, आपका नाम? मुस्कान। मुस्कान से कितने लोग सहमत हैं? हाथ खड़ा करें। सिर्फ एक। ओ, काफी सारे। 50% से कम है या ज्यादा है? इतना बता दो। थोड़ा झिझक रहे हैं, कभी हाथ उठाते हैं, कभी नीचे कर लेते हैं। चलो 20% बोल देते हैं, चलो ये मान लेते हैं कि मुस्कान ने कहा कि 20% उस 25 बोल देते हैं, 25% वाले लोग तो उस रेखा को सहमत है, लेकिन मिडल वाले जो मिडल में बैठे हैं, जिनकी शर्ट पे मिडल लिखा हुआ है, वो सहमत नहीं है। आपके हिसाब से कितने लोग पार कर जाएंगे, कितने नहीं कर पाएंगे? 40%। कितने लोग, आपका नाम हिमांशु, से कितने लोग सहमत हैं जो ये कह रहे हैं बैठ जाइए, कितने लोग हिमांशु से सहमत हैं कि 40% लोग ही अपने लाइट हाउस को प्राप्त कर लेंगे, बाकी लोग छूट जाएंगे? 40% लोग गाड़ी में चढ़ जाएंगे, बाकी लोगों की गाड़ी छूट जाएगी। कितने लोग सहमत हैं? हाथ खड़ा करें। 25% में सारे, 40% में कोई नहीं। यहां पर कोई मैथमेटिक्स टीचर है? 25% में तो सारे सहमत थे, लगभग 70-80% तो थे ही थे। 40% में तो कितने, उससे ज्यादा होना चाहिए था ना? कितने लोग सहमत हैं इस बात से? ऐसा कैसे? तो मैम स्पीच खत्म कर दे, क्योंकि ये तो बात करना ही नहीं चाहते। पहले इन्होंने बोला कि स्पीच मत करिए, हमसे बात करिए। अब मैं बात कर रहा हूं तो मैं ही बात कर रहा हूं, ये तो बात करना इन्होंने बंद कर दी। 40% लोग आपकी उस सीढ़ी को प्राप्त कर लेंगे जिसका नाम है सफलता, ऐसा हिमांशु ने बोला। कितने लोग सहमत हैं, कितने लोग सहमत नहीं है? जो सहमत नहीं है पहले वो हाथ खड़ा कर ले। तो आपको लगता है कि इससे ज्यादा होगा? है काम? अच्छा, अभी समझ में आया, मेरा क्वेश्चन गलत था, राइट? तो ये मान के चलिए कि वो ये कह रहे हैं कि 40% तो सहमत, 40% तो पास हो जाएंगे, और आपको सबको ये लगता है कि 40% तक भी नहीं पहुंच पाएंगे। तो अब क्वेश्चन को रिवर्स करते हैं, कितने लोग ये समझते हैं कि कम से कम 40% तो क्रॉस करेंगे ही करेंगे? कितने लोग सहमत हैं? कोई भी नहीं। आप स्टूडेंट हैं? नहीं, स्टूडेंट से क्वेश्चन तो स्टूडेंट से है, क्योंकि प्रोफेसर तो अपना प्रोडक्ट तैयार कर रहे हैं। हर आदमी अपने प्रोडक्ट को बहुत प्यार करता है। जब कोई आदमी अपने प्रोडक्ट को जब तैयार करता है तो वो, उसको ऐसे लगता है कि मैंने दुनिया की सबसे खूबसूरत चीज बनाई है। अपने प्रोडक्ट की कोई भी क्रिटिसिज्म नहीं करता। यूजुअली आप क्या देखेंगे, टीचर सपोर्ट करेंगे और पीठ पीछे स्टूडेंट टीचर्स को क्रिटिसाइज करें। ऐसा होता है? कैसे पढ़ाते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ तो कमी निकाल ही देते हैं। परफेक्ट टीचर में भी कोई ना कोई कमी निकालते हैं, हमने भी निकाली थी, उसी गली में से निकलकर हम भी यहां पर पहुंचे हैं, राइट? तो मेरा आपसे ये कहना है कि अगर आपको लगता है कि 40% भी लोग वहां तक नहीं पहुंचेंगे, तो इसका मतलब है कोई तो कारण होगा। आपको क्या लगता है कि इसमें से कोई एक स्टूडेंट ऐसा है जो कि डेफिनेटली 40% को क्रॉस करेगा? अपने आजू बाजू देखिए, कौन आए हैं कौन नहीं आए, बाकी लोग तो दूसरी क्लास में चले गए। इनमें से कोई एक बच्चा है जो 40% में डेफिनेटली आएगा, जो सफल हो जाएगा? कौन है? नाम बताइए। अपना नाम नहीं बता सकते, अपने को तो सब प्यार करते हैं, अपना नाम नहीं बताना। कौन है? बता दीजिए। अपने दोस्त का बता सकते थे अभी, बस ये तो देखो, जिन्होंने अपने साथ वाले को बताया उनकी बात मैं नहीं सुन रहा हूं। जो जेन्युइन आंसर दे रहा है, कौन है वो बच्चा, कौन है वो स्टूडेंट जो कि डेफिनेटली मेधावी है, हु इज इंटेलिजेंट, हु इज टॉपर, हु इज अहेड ऑफ अदर्स इवन इफ ही इज नॉट टॉपर, हु हैज ए गुड पर्सनैलिटी, हु अचीव्स ए लॉट, हु इज एन ऑलराउंडर, who is liked by everybody, who is liked by the professors, who seems like that he will achieve great heights in life, who has a good communication, he speaks good English. So many good things are there. He keeps fit. फिट है वो, जब देखते हैं तो एकदम से फिट लगता है, ढीला ढाला नहीं लगता, राइट, एनर्जेटिक है। तो आप मुझे बताएंगे कौन है वो स्टूडेंट? यस, नाम बोलिए, नाम। युवंदना, बहुत अच्छा नाम है। कौन है युवंदना? आप हैं? हाँ, देखो वो ऑलरेडी सामने आ चुकी है। एक और नाम बताइए। वो कहाँ है? ओके, गुड। एक और नाम बताइए। बस दो ही है? हाँ बताइए। कौन है? उन्होंने आपका नाम बताया, आपने उनका नाम बता दिया। अच्छा, चलो ठीक है, वेरी गुड। और कौन है? वो चॉकलेट्स ले आए हैं जो उन्हें देनी थी, जो जीत जाएंगे। आप इतना संकोच क्यों कर रहे हैं बात करने में? आपने ही बोला था बात कर रहे हैं, नहीं तो स्पीच तो मेरे पास है रेडी। स्पीच में लेके आया हूं, स्पीच पढ़ू, आपको बोर करके मार दूं? नहीं मारू ना। तो मेरे पास है स्पीच जो मुझे आपको कहना है, लेकिन आपने कहा कि हमें बातें करनी है, तो इसलिए बातें कर रहे हैं। तो और कौन सा बच्चा है जो 40% में आ जाएगा? रजनीश का है, वेरी गुड। और ये सभी स्टूडेंट्स एक बार खड़े हो जाएंगे, जहां जहां पे बैठे हैं सब खड़े हो जाएंगे। जिनके नाम आए हैं आप भी थोड़ा आगे आ जाइए, हम सब इनके लिए तालियां बजाएंगे। कुछ तो बात है, कुछ तो बात है। हमें पता नहीं था कि किस टाइप का टेस्ट होगा, और यह भी नहीं पता था कि उस टेस्ट को स्टूडेंट ही मार्क्स कर देंगे, और यह भी नहीं पता था कि अपना खुद का दोस्त हमको दगा दे गया और किसी और का नाम ले गया। यह सच है जो आपके सामने आया। इस सच में कुछ लोग और भी हैं जिनके नाम नहीं आए। क्यों नहीं आए आप बता सकते हैं? नहीं बताना चाहते? अच्छा, मैं दूसरा क्वेश्चन पूछता हूं। जिन लोगों के नाम आए हैं इनके नाम क्यों आए, ये तो बता सकते हैं? ये आसान है। क्यों आए इनके नाम? आप लोग भी बोल सकते हैं, क्योंकि आप अपने बारे में नहीं बोल रहे, आप इनके बारे में भी बोल रहे हैं। तो कोई भी बोल सकता है, स्टूडेंट बोल सकता है, उसके बाद हम प्रोफेसर से भी पूछेंगे इनके नाम क्यों आए, बाकियों के नाम नहीं आए।
मेरी कनेक्टिविटी उनमें अच्छी है।
ओके ओके, मैं वो नहीं पूछना चाह रहा था। मेरा पूछने का मतलब ये था कि उनमें ऐसा क्या गुण है जिसकी वजह से लोगों ने उनका नाम किया। ऐसा क्या गुण है? इन सबको एक पर्सन मान ले, ये 5-6 लोग जितने भी हैं, सभी लोग खड़े रहे, बैठेगा नहीं, कोई भी नहीं है। जिनके नाम आए हैं प्लीज खड़े रहे। तो इनके अंदर ऐसी क्या खूबी है जो कि बाकियों लोगों में से नहीं है? ओके, और कोई कुछ बोलना चाहेगा? लीडरशिप क्वालिटी है। और कुछ बोलना चाहेगा? जिन लोगों ने कैप पहनी हुई है पहले हम उनसे पूछेंगे। जिसने भी टोपी पहनी है पहले टोपी वाले आंसर दे दे। सर पहले आप, इनमें क्या गुण है? तो चारों के बारे में बता दीजिए एक एक करके। अच्छा, आप पहली बार आया। आप किसी ऐसे पर्सन को जानते हैं जो कि आपको लगता है कि फ्यूचर में बहुत बड़ा बनेगा? उसके अंदर क्या गुण है? डेडिकेटेड है। ओके, ईमानदारी से मेहनत करके, ठीक है। और कोई कुछ क्या कहना चाहता है? आप में से कोई बोलना चाहता है कुछ? आप बैठ सकते हैं। हाँ, कम्युनिकेशन गुड है, वेरी गुड। कम्युनिकेशन से हमारा क्या मतलब होता है? लेकिन आपने देखा कि कुछ लोग मेरे से कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं और कुछ लोग नहीं कर रहे हैं। इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि उनको करना नहीं आता, लेकिन वो फिर भी नहीं कर रहे हैं। अगर हम कम्युनिकेट नहीं करेंगे अपनी स्किल्स, तो लोग हमें पहचान भी नहीं पाएंगे। अगर हम में टैलेंट भी होगा तो भी नहीं पहचान पाएंगे। तो अगर हमें सक्सेसफुल होना है तो कम्युनिकेशन तो सीखना पड़ेगा। कम्युनिकेशन का मतलब सिर्फ इंग्लिश बोलना नहीं है, लैंग्वेज को अच्छा बोलना नहीं है। आपको आज पता है जितने लोगों ने स्पीचेस दी थी उनमें से किसी एक स्पीकर का जो डिक्शन था और जो उनकी आवाज थी बहुत ही दमदार थी। आप बता सकते हैं कौन थे वो? आप बता सकते हैं? और कोई? मुझे जो सबसे ज्यादा आज दमदार आवाज रखी, शायद उनका नाम राजेश जी था, जो ऊपर उन्होंने स्पीच दी थी, जो बाद में आए थे। हाँ, वोट ऑफ थैंक्स। क्या दमदार आवाज थी, कितना क्लियर बोला उन्होंने, डिक्शन कितना, हर वर्ड उनका क्षण के अलग अलग आ रहा था, राइट। तो अगर आपकी कम्युनिकेशन में आपकी भाषा अच्छी है, आपकी आवाज अच्छी है, डिक्शन अच्छी है, आप क्लियरली बोल रहे हैं, लाउडली बोल रहे हैं, अपने आप से बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, और सबसे बड़ी बात, जो बात कह रहे हैं वो दूसरे को समझ में आ रही है, राइट। उसके अंदर अपने इमोशंस, जो चीज सोच रहे हैं वो बोल रहे हैं, जो बोल रहे हैं वही चीज आप कहना चाहते हैं, जो कहना चाहते हैं वही आपके दिमाग में है, दिल में है, सब उसके बीच में पूरा कॉन्ग्रुएंस है। कॉन्ग्रुएंस का मतलब समझते हैं कि तालमेल है, दिल, दिमाग, शब्द, सबका तालमेल है। तो सामने वाले आदमी को लगता है कि ये बात सही कह रहा है। जब हम अपनी बात को सही ढंग से कहते हैं तभी तो सुनता है। आपको लगता है कि पूरे उसमें एक जना सोया हुआ है, बाकी सब सुन रहे हैं, बताओ कौन है? आप बताइए, आप बताइए। मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई भी सोया हुआ है। मुझे लगता है कि मैं जो बात आप लोगों से कह रहा हूं, हर एक स्टूडेंट बहुत अच्छे से सुन रहा है, क्योंकि मेरी जो नजरें हैं वो सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स पे हैं। मैं प्रोफेसर्स की तरफ देख भी नहीं रहा हूं, मैं सिर्फ उनसे बात कर रहा हूं। अगर मैं आपके साथ इंटरेस्ट से बात करूंगा तो आपको मेरी बात समझ में आ जाएगी, क्योंकि आप उस बात को सुन रहे हैं। सुनेंगे तभी तो समझ में आएगी। तो कम्युनिकेशन जो आपने बोला, बैठ जाइए, बहुत अच्छी बात बोली। और क्या बात है इनमें जिसकी वजह से इनका नाम बाहर आया? कॉन्फिडेंस, वेरी गुड, वो भी कम्युनिकेशन का एक पार्ट है। और अब आप सब बैठ जाइए, थैंक यू। हाँ जी, कंसिस्टेंसी, ओके, वेरी गुड। अब मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूं, कौन सा एक बच्चा है, एक स्टूडेंट है जो डेफिनेटली 40% में नहीं आएगा? उसका नाम बता दीजिए। ये तो आसान था, ये आसान था ना, क्योंकि 10% से हम शुरू हुए थे, 90% तो उसी कैटेगरी के थे। फिर हमने उसको बढ़ा के 40 तक किया, क्योंकि सुनने में अच्छा नहीं लग रहा था 10%, राइट। रिस्पेक्टेबल नंबर पर ले आए। 60% तो फिर भी उसी कैटेगरी में है, हु विल नॉट मेक इट। तो उनमें से एक बच्चे का नाम बता दीजिए, एक स्टूडेंट का नाम बता दीजिए, जस्ट वन। इतना तो अपने दोस्त पे उपकार कर सकते हैं आप, बताइए। देखिए, अगर आप जिंदगी में बड़े बनना चाहते हैं, आप बड़े बनना चाहते हैं, बड़े आदमियों की एक खूबी मैं आपको बता देता हूं। जितना भी बड़ा आदमी होगा उसकी एक खूबी क्या होगी, कितनी भी बड़ी टेबल पे जाकर बैठ जाएगा, वो सच को विदाउट मिंसिंग वर्ड्स काइंडली, रिस्पेक्टफुली कह देगा। अगर आप में दम ही नहीं है सच बोलने का, तो आप अपनी बात को कभी कह ही नहीं पाएंगे। आज मौका है अपना सारा गुस्सा निकालने का, जो आपको तंग कर रहा था उसका नाम बता देने का, हिसाब बराबर, राइट। तो एक का तो नाम बता दीजिए, सबका तो हम पूछ भी नहीं थे, 60 में से एक का ही तो पूछ रहे हैं, जस्ट 1%, कोई भी नहीं है। तो फिर इनके नाम क्यों लिए? ये जो लीडर्स आए थे, लीडर्स भी नहीं बता रहे। प्रेजेंट लोगों में से बताना है कि जिसको जानते हैं उनको बता दीजिए उनमें से। चलो, हम किसी को फोर्स नहीं करेंगे, जो अपने आप बताना चाहे। नहीं, बता दो ना। अच्छा, आप बाहर आ जाओ, बाहर तो आ सकते हो। आपका नाम क्या है? हाँ जी, मयंक साहू, आइए। अच्छा, अभी 2 मिनट मयंक साहू अपने बारे में बात करेंगे। हाँ,
गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन। गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
आप अपनी तारीफ के बारे में बोले, अपनी सिर्फ तारीफें करनी है आपने, जो सच है।
मेरा नाम मयंक साहू है और मेरी तारीफ करने दें सर।
हाँ जी, और माइक को यहां लेके बोलना है, माइक ऊपर, सिर्फ अपनी तारीफ करनी है।
सर मेरा मेन फोकस रहता है कि बिजनेस को ग्रो करने के कैसे।
बिजनेस तो हम कर नहीं रहे, हम पढ़ने आते हैं।
मैं अपना खुद का कंपनी जो यू पैरिस के नाम से भी क्लोथिंग ब्रांड स्टार्ट किया हूँ, मतलब उसका मेन ग्रोथ
यहाँ के बारे में,
यहाँ के बारे में।
कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, बैठिए। सो लेट्स क्लैप फॉर हिम। देखिए, अगर आप अपनी पढ़ाई नहीं कर पा रहे हैं तो उसके 2 ही कारण हो सकते हैं। या तो आप में बहुत खूबियां हैं, आप बता नहीं पा रहे, या आप में वो खूबियां इतनी हुई नहीं है कि जिसको बताने में आपको एम्बेरसमेंट फील हो रहा है। तो मेरा मैसेज सिर्फ इतना छोटा सा ही था कि आप सब में पोटेंशियल है। अगर आप चाहें तो आप उस फिनिश लाइन को क्रॉस कर सकते हैं, बशर्ते कि आप उनमें वही गुण लेके आए जो गुण आपने मुझे बताए हैं आज। मैंने आपको आज कुछ भी नहीं बताया, मैंने सिर्फ आपसे कुछ प्रश्न पूछे हैं, उसके आंसर आपने दे दिए हैं। मुझे ये समझ में आ गया कि जो मेरी स्पीच है वो ऑलरेडी आपको मालूम थी, तो मुझे बोलने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ी, क्योंकि ये तो सब कुछ आपको पहले से ही मालूम था। तो मालूम था तो फिर इंप्लीमेंट क्यों नहीं कर रहे? ये आप आज रात को सोचिएगा कि ऐसा तो नहीं है कि मैं रह जाऊंगा और पूरी क्लास आगे निकल जाएगी। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. It is my great honor to introduce our distinguished academic leader, researcher, and administrator, Dr. Manoj Vaidis. Dr. Vaidis brings over 26 years of rich experience in higher education, management studies, and institutional literature. He is currently serving as Executive Director, Corporate Communication, and Director and Professor at Rumta School of Management and Commerce, Rumta International Girls University, Melali, where he leads corporate communication, brand strategy, and industry outreach and academic excellence initiatives. He has held several prestigious leadership positions, including Vice Rector, Registrar at Sharjah University, Uzbekistan, and key administrative roles such as being Head of Department, IQAC Coordinator, and Director of Innovation and Incubation, contributing significantly to international development, equality assurance, and entrepreneurship promotion. Dr. Burgess holds a PhD in management along
लगा
with
दिया हो ना?
MBA, MCOM, and
लगा दो, देख लो कि
master's
पेन
degree in
ड्राइव लग गया ना
psychology.
करके, बाकी मैं कर दूंगा।
An approved PhD guide, he has published extensively in reputed national as well as international journals. authored books, and book chapters, and presented his research at global platforms, including the International Congress of Applied Psychology. With a strong commitment to innovation, research excellence, and industry collaboration and holistic development, Dr. Burgess continues to make remarkable contributions to the field of management. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the warmly welcoming of Dr. Burgess.
Thank you, madam, for the introduction. I know it's difficult in second half to listen post lunch, but coming back to the topic, ultimately, a good conference is being conducted by Anjana University, and there's an objective to this conference, and we will talk about why conferences are conducted in an education institution, and especially in a topic which is relevant to the present day context, and how an education institution can contribute, and especially the young generation who are going to be the future leaders. And here the topic today we will be talking and discussing is basically preparing future leaders for green business transformation. Basically, when you, like management students, you might have heard we define marketing or a business in a common term. When we define it as converting societal needs into favorable opportunity. सुने आप लोग? Converting societal needs into favorable opportunity. This is basically a business or the whole concept of marketing in which it depends. And as a business, what are we doing is we are converting societal needs. And today, after so much of years, and India, we are talking about business transformation, that to green, that to sustainable transformation. So is it a transformation, or we should talk about the actual business, what business should do? See, agar hum insaan hai, we are talking about how to be a good human being. We are to see that why businesses are required to be taught that you have to transform according to the societal needs. So ये sustainability की जब बात आती है, I will summarize because I will not take much of the time to on this topic. I will just brief it out and tell you the gist of what I wanted to tell you. See, refining growth beyond profit. What are the things? There are three pillars of sustainability. Basically, when we talk about economic sustainability, environment, as well as social. And here it is written like sustainable development means the need of the present without compromising the ability of future to meet their own needs. So whatever we do today, we have to think for the future. And every aspect like economic, environmental, social, all these three pillars we have to think. And it is about improving society and the economy simultaneously. We cannot isolate things and see like business है, मैं हूँ, मुझे दूसरों से मतलब नहीं है. If you see like in India, we Indian as a culture, today we have come to a level, we have to talk about sustainability. Actual में Indians को बात करना चाहिए क्या? हमारा ethos, हमारा culture, nature, environment, इस सब को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए हमारा जो बेसिक कल्चर था, बेसिक कल्चर है, वो उसी पे फोकस्ड है. एंड इस परिस्थिति में आ गया कि वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस एंड नो वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड इज टीचिंग अस हाउ टू बी सस्टेनेबल. वी हैव टू इंट्रोस्पेक्ट ourselves what has happened in these years. This is very much required, and I appreciate Anjana University to take this topic as the theme for the conference, because here young generations are there. And why I'm telling This why it is important to take this theme as a conference. This is the basic gist here which I will be telling. See, when we talk about the climate risk is basically the business risk. What are the risks normally if we don't see sustainability as an issue and we don't take care of it? What are the issues we are going to face? There will be resource shortages, there will be a lot of issues, supply chain disruptions will be there, social unrest will be there, corporate failures will be there. And what are the drivers actually? It is basically today when we talk about startups and investors and organizations, we see that investors are seeing ESG demand. If you are not fulfilling ESG, the investors will not be investing because that gives you a long-term vision that organization will be successful. Then consumers are preferring now organic and sustainability part. They are getting aware slowly. And government regulations are there and innovation has to focus on sustainability. And the issue here is implementing gap. What is a gap? We all talk about these things. The climate science, we talk about sustainability strategy, we talk about ESG reporting. But this is the tip of iceberg. Actual issue in implementation is the behavioral aspect. When we talk about behavioral aspect, every individual sitting here, we have to introspect ourselves, our daily habits. We have to introspect what is the psychological bias which we have. We have to introspect the social, we are not the social norms. We have to think of the social norms. There are a lot of norms which will help us to implement the sustainability part through educational institutions. The cultural inertia, the technology solutions fail without behavioral adaptation. We are focusing on technology. We are talking about a lot of technologies and all engineering, science is involved in technology part. We as management and commerce people, we have to focus on the behavioral aspect. That is the key. And this part we ignore in the process of sustainability. So basically, these are the psychological barriers which we have. The behavioral inertia, basically the habit blocks adaptation, like preferring private cars over public transport. This is basically a simple thing which we, like, see, Raipur mein humko utna problem nahi hota, we use lot of private. But slowly aane wale samay mein we have to change our habit, we have to use more of public transport. This is basically a change, a paradigm shift in our behavioral aspect which we have to. There is an inertia in our behavior, we don't adopt to things. Status quo, natural resistance to change, ये human habit है. We don't want to change ourselves. दूसरे बदल जाए, दूसरे हमारे लिए बदले, but हम बदलेंगे नहीं. ये basic human nature होता है. Present bias, basically preference of immediate comfort over long-term gains. अब देखिएगा, simple से चीज है. We all talk about plastics. मेरी भी एक आदत है, आप लोग की भी आदत होगी, सब्जी दुकान जाते हैं और सिंपल से है कि भैया बैग लाए कि नहीं पॉलिथीन में दे दो. वी आर थिंकिंग और इमीडिएट कंफर्ट और कहते हैं कि प्लास्टिक यूसेज कम होना चाहिए. हम सब एजुकेटेड लोग वही करते हैं और प्रेजेंट कंफर्ट की बात करते हैं. वी डोंट थिंक ऑफ हाउ वी कैन रिड्यूस द डिमांड ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. Diffusion of responsibility, the belief that others will act, so I don't have to. हम दूसरों को एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं एक्ट करने के लिए, we don't. Now the point is here from the leadership starts, like what are the type of leaders we require? Students, you have to understand, because you are going to be the future leaders. What sort of leaders we require? We require people with system thinking, understand the impact of society and environment. Means you have to be the thinkers. सोचने वाला चाहिए. और सोचने वाला आपको लगता है कि you are a thinker, but you have to have a vision. You have to think and correlate things, understanding the impact of society and environment, and everything which we use will have an impact on the society. Today, what we do, it will have an impact tomorrow. हमारा जो डिजिटल फुटप्रिंट जैसा होता है, आप समझते हो डिजिटल एरा में रह रहे हो तो यू विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट, बट वट एवर वी डू टुडे हैज ए फुटप्रिंट फॉर टुमारो. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट इम्पैक्ट. एथिकल लीडरशिप वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एथिक्स हमको सिखाना पड़ रहा है, एंड वी हैव टू हैव quotes from the Indian knowledge system talk about, and we have to bring it back and tell that ethical hona padega, and the leaders coming have to be ethical. That is very much required. Innovative mindset hona padega leaders में आने वाले समय में. That is अभी भी, but this is the basic requirement in coming days. Data and ESG theories literacy hona padega. You have to have that understanding of it, and emotional intelligence is very much required. So shifting from how much can I take to how much can we give back? We have to think as a business. If you start a business, you have to corporate social responsibility sikhaya jata. We all teach that give back to the society, and we have to think on. We have to create leaders who will think on. You have to have the thinking mind. Sir was telling about how many of you will be in the 40% and all, but you have to think that you have to be in how much can I take and how much I can give back to the society. You have to be that. Now, this is basically an area which a lot of researchers are happening in terms of sustainability, in behavioral aspect, how we can implement sustainability. See, आज आप देखेंगे स्वच्छ भारत अभियान जो चला था, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was a very successful activity initially, and it was doing good. Lot of जो आप पहले देखेंगे जो स्वच्छ ये जो टॉयलेट्स के इश्यूज थे बहुत कुछ कम हुआ, बट देयर वाज अ ड्राइव व्हिच वाज हैपनिंग, एंड सडनली वो ड्राइव का फोकस हट गया और स्वच्छ भारत से कंसंट्रेशन हट गया, एंड थिंग्स have come back to that level. Again, those sort of drives have to be required in the coming days. Why? Because see, there are 5 types of norms जो हमको ये sustainability aspect पे हमको focus कराता है. As a human being, the descriptive norms which we follow, how sustainability can be implemented is what a person thinks is what most people are doing in the society. We see that मेरे एरिया में जैसे आपके यहाँ पे कचड़ा वाला आता है, कितने लोग कचड़ा सेग्रीगेट करके देते हैं. ओके, दूसरा एक प्रॉब्लम है यहाँ पे, सेग्रीगेट करके तो आप रखते हो, कचड़ा वाला क्या करता है, एक साथ डाल देता है. उस सबसे फनी चीज होता है, आप सेग्रीगेट करते हो, कचड़ा वाला उसको मिक्स कर देता है, जबकि उसको सेग्रीगेट करके जाना चाहिए, एंड दैट ही शुड हैव ए कंटेनर व्हिच विल हैव द सेग्रीगेशन, बट वो करता नहीं है. बट दैट इज ए थिंग व्हिच इज हैपनिंग. बट सेग्रीगेशन अगर मैक्सिमम लोग कर रहे हैं और कचड़ा वाला भी सेग्रीगेट करके लेके जाता है, अगर हम सेग्रीगेट नहीं कर रहे हैं, ऑटोमेटिकली हम देखते हैं कि अरे इतने लोग कर रहे हैं क्या, आई शुड ऑल्सो अडॉप्ट टू इट. सो स्लोली माई हैबिट चेंज, दैट इज डिस्क्रिप्टिव नॉर्म्स. क्लियर? सेकेंड है सब्जेक्टिव नॉर्म्स है. व्हाट my important people, like for a student, teachers are important people, and their concerned कुछ role models होंगे, वो important people हैं. So what are they doing? They will learn from them. So here teachers have an important role as far as subjective norms is concerned, that students are observing. अरे मेरे important लोग ऐसा कर रहे हैं तो मुझे भी करना चाहिए, उनको देख के मैं सीखता हूं. इवन लाइक घर पे बच्चे हैं तो पेरेंट्स जो है उनकी जो आदतों से उनको कंपेयर करके बच्चा सीखता है. दैट इज बेसिकली मोर ऑफ ए सब्जेक्टिव नॉर्म्स. सो इट बिकम्स अ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ दोज की पर्सन्स टू बी वेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबल इन दीज सस्टेनेबिलिटी एस्पेक्ट्स. सो ऑटोमेटिकली बिहेवियरल चेंजेस आता है. इंजेक्टिव नॉर्म्स में व्हाट सोसाइटी अप्रूव्स. सोसाइटी में एक्सेप्टेबल क्या है, which is not acceptable, that is basically injective norms. Then comes the personal norms, my individual inner values, which makes me take a decision which is good or bad. अगर मैं कचड़ा फेंकता हूं बाहर या मैं गंदा कर रहा हूं, एनवायरमेंट को नुकसान पहुंचा रहा हूं, अगर लाइट एंड फैन स्विच ऑफ करना है, how many of you the students अगर क्लास में लाइट एंड फैन चालू है, ब्रेक है, बाहर जा रहे हैं, किसी क्लास में आप जा रहे हैं, वो मेरा क्लास नहीं है, कोई देख नहीं रहा है, आप कितने लोग हैं जो क्लास में जाके स्विच लाइट फैन ऑफ कर देते हैं? रियली गुड। अगर आपको नहीं देख रहा है कोई भी, फिर भी आप करते हैं, इट्स रियली गुड, दिस इज अप्रिशिएटिंग। एक्चुअली यू शुड क्लैप फॉर योरसेल्फ। दिस इज अ हैबिट, this is a habit actually which is required in India. That this is more of a personal norms and the cultural norms. Cultural norms, basically, we all know the culture teaches a lot of the way we our lifestyle and all. Now, simple से जल्दी से education institution का role क्या पड़ जाता है? What we teach is we teach business. We don't have to teach business. We have to teach business or society. How to convert societal needs into favorable opportunity in the aspect of profitability, in the aspect of profit. We should not teach them that profit is the core. Profit is the resultant of what you do. You don't have to run for the society. Business with a purpose. We have to teach students in terms of business with a purpose, not business for profit. Profit तो आएगा ही, purpose अगर achieve होगा. So your focus of teaching business has to change. And we as educational institutions are knowledge creators, behavioral influencers, cultural shapers, and leadership incubators. These 5 pillars, the 4 pillars, basically, educational institutions have to take the responsibility. We as education institution, इसीलिए बोला अंजना यूनिवर्सिटी अगर करा रहा है, and these pillars पे focus करके इस टाइप की चीजें, like students are sitting today, it is slowly, it is actually there is a learning which is happening, talking about sustainability, talking about change behavior, see how which is acceptable, which is not acceptable. Automatically the change, the drivers of change starts happening. I have to be big fast. मैं ज्यादा समय नहीं लूंगा. Descriptive में जैसे colleges हैं, so we have to do these things like display who is like, आप लोगों का नाम पर्सनल एस्पेक्ट में आ सकता था कि चलो इतने बच्चों ने देखा कि देयर वाज अ हिडन कैमरा एंड दिस पीपल हैव डन विदाउट knowingly that our light fan off किया, they should be appreciated. So that gives a message that हाँ यहाँ पे appreciate होता है, अच्छा काम का appreciation होता है. Lot of times ऐसा लगता है यार ये करके क्या मिला, लोगों ने तो मुझे appreciate नहीं किया. Patting the shoulders actually है कि अच्छा काम किया, which is concerning the environment, which is concerning a small thing can have a long-term impact. This is what education institutions can do. So there are some examples which I have put here. Then leveraging the leverage injection norms में we have to embed our sustainability in mission and vision, recognize and reward green initiatives, create sustainability day, penalize wasteful practices like plastic बैन करना चाहिए, कैंपस में बिल्कुल प्लास्टिक लेके नहीं आए. इवन आई हैव सीन इंस्टीट्यूशंस वेयर यू कैन नॉट ब्रिंग द व्हीकल इनसाइड, यू हैव टू वॉक इन, यू हैव टू यूज साइकिल्स इन दैट कैंपस. सो वो जो जैसे मेरे बेटा कह रहा था कि द कॉलेज इन विच ही इज स्टडिंग, अचानक से पता नहीं डायरेक्टर सर को वहां पे क्या हो गया, आजकल गाड़ी अंदर करने नहीं देते हैं, आजकल गाड़ियां ईवी चला रहे हैं. उन्होंने जिस दिन से ईवी लिया उस दिन से वो स्टूडेंट्स को गाड़ी अंदर लेके आने मना करते, गाड़ी बाहर रखते, बच्चे पैदल आते हैं या तो गाड़ी धक्का लेके मार के आएंगे, चला के नहीं आएंगे. I said it's a small initiative which is demonstrating the importance of sustainability. How you can, what are the impacts, small practices. So then there is a subjective norms. Again, I will not take much time in explaining it. अगर बाद में कभी समय मिले तो डिटेल में बात करेंगे. Just you check the examples and personal and cultural. So in totality, just briefing it out, in totality, मेरे कहने का सिर्फ तात्पर्य ये था, what I wanted to tell you is, as students, you have to understand that there is an importance of behavioral change. छोटी छोटी आदतें, जैसे जब स्वच्छ भारत का चल रहा था, मैंने खुद देखा कि मेरा बेटा जब टॉफी कार में बैठ के खाता था तो अगर वो बाहर फेंकने की जगह में हाथ में लेके या तो गाड़ी में रख देता था, कहीं और ड्रॉप करता था, कोई और कहता था नहीं पापा बाहर नहीं फेंकना है। आप लोगों को भी एक्सपीरियंस किए होंगे, कई घरों में ऐसा पेरेंट्स ने कहा था। वही बच्चा आज बाहर फेंक रहा है। आप एक स्टडी करके देखिएगा, वो बच्चे में जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आ रहा था, वो बच्चे में ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन बंद हो गया। वो क्यों हुआ? क्योंकि जब सब्जेक्टिव नॉर्म्स के बारे में आता है, ये एल्डर्स जो है रिस्पॉन्सिबल है। बच्चे हमको देख के सीखते हैं। आज ये छोटी छोटी आदतें जब होती है, when we these people when they start a business, somebody was saying that he is doing a business, क्लोथ का कुछ बिजनेस कर रहा है कह रहे थे। सो सी, जब ये जो चीजें स्कूल्स में, कॉलेजेस में, एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस में जब हैबिट चेंज जब देखते हैं, तो ऑटोमेटिकली दिस आर द पीपल हु आर गोइंग टू बी द लीडर्स टुमारो। दैट इज इनकलकेटेड इन देम by observing. If they observe all the wrong practices here by our actions, our behavioral thing, they will not learn anything. What are we teaching? We have to understand, we like मैंने कहा कि we don't have to teach business, we have to teach business for the society. How to convert societal needs into favorable opportunity. But this जो भी business objectives होते हैं, हमको सोसाइटी के गैप से मिलता है। हमको और गैप बढ़ाना नहीं है, गैप्स को रिड्यूस करना है। उसके लिए जितनी भी सस्टेनेबल प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, आप जस्ट ऑब्जर्व करिएगा, एंड दैट विल हैपन फ्रॉम कैंपसेस ओनली। सो वी एज कैंपस administrators and educationists and everybody, we have to understand our role, and if we understand our role seriously, this problem will be resolved from India. So this is what I wanted to say. Thank you for listening. I don't want to take much time elaborately. Thank you. आप चालू कर लीजिए बेटा, इसको लिखो बंद करके। ओके, ये ज्यादा एलाबोरेट नहीं करना चाह रहा था बच्चे को। एक्चुअली पहले बहुत ज्यादा समय चला गया उनका।
इनॉग्रल सेशन को बहुत ज्यादा डिले हो गई, वहीं से चीजें लेट होना स्टार्ट हो गई।
अभी ये सब चीजें सिखाने का टाइम नहीं है अभी। एक्चुअली क्या ना, वो फोकस ही नहीं रहता ना सुनने का।
अरे हम यहाँ पे जब होंगे तब तो होंगे, हमको यहाँ करना पड़ेगा ना।
Thank you so for your valuable words. It is my privilege to introduce our distinguished chairperson, Dr. Reshma Srivastava. Ma'am, she has professional academic experience spanning over 2 decades. She has worked in BIMT Raipur and has contributed to the development of management department. She has also served in Amity University Raipur and contributed in the development of student and department. She has been deeply engaged in teaching, research, training, and scholarly leadership with a sustained commitment to knowledge creation, capacity building, and academic excellence in higher education. Her research profile is marked by extensive publication of research papers in reputed UGC Care and Scopus Index journals, along with the publication of scholarly books that contribute to contemporary debates in management, human resource development, organizational behavior, sustainability, and applied social science disciplines. She has successfully undertaken the government-funded research projects supported by NITI Aayog and the State Planning Commission, where she contributed as principal investigator and co-principal investigator, working on issues related to higher education access, unemployment, youth development, and policy intervention in the state of Chhattisgarh. These projects involve empirical research data analysis, stakeholder engagement, and policy implementation, reflecting the ability to translate research, academic research into actionable outcomes. In addition to publications and funded research, she has promoted patents and intellectual property rights. To her credit, demonstrating engagement with innovation, applied research, and interdisciplinary problem-solving engagement. Beyond conventional academic output, research mentoring and doctoral supervision form a core part of her academic responsibility, and she has successfully guided three PhD research scholars while continuing to supervise doctoral candidates. Two books in HR titled and HR Analytics and Industrial Relations and Labor Laws are authored by her. Now let's move to our technical session 1. I invite Saurabh Agrawal to present a paper titled Impact of 3D Printing Technology on Housing Labor Market of Raipur.
Thank you, everyone.
सर वो लैपटॉप से आगे पीछे हो जाए ये आगे
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Respected chair, my teachers, and my colleagues. Today, I will be presenting a qualitative research paper that is guided based upon the three main words on which this international conference has been conducted. Firstly, business, technology, humanities for sustainable development. So, coming to my topic, its impact of 3D printing technology on housing labor market of Raipur, Chhattisgarh. So, connecting it with the topic, 3D printing is a technology that affects the labor market, the humanities sector, and that concerns the housing business, the housing developers, and the real estate market. The agenda for today is as mentioned. I will move forward. Introduction. I will give a brief introduction up here. 3D printing. We have seen 3D printers in various online videos, online reels. Some have been in the university. Some have been with our colleagues as well in their houses or in their businesses. But 3D printing a house, an infra project, 3D printing a construction project is new for us in Raipur, Chhattisgarh. Not new for Chicago, not new for China, not new for Netherlands and the European sectors. Why? Why technology adaptation is very new for us in Raipur, Chhattisgarh? Because of the humanities involved, the labor market involved, the demographics involved in our local market. Labors, they constitute around 70% of the total cost in any infra project, taken in and out. So whenever we adopt a technology, it has a repercussion. It has a repercussion directly on the livelihood of that particular labor and his family, his or her family. So that's why we have to assess why 3D printing is very important in housing sector for sustainability, but how to implement it so that the labor economics also remains sustainable. That's the point. The objectives of this qualitative research paper are to study a technology of 3D printing, its capabilities, its limitation and application in the housing construction, to study the labor market and the housing industry of Raipur, Chhattisgarh, assess the potential displacement of traditional housing construction workers due to the 3D printing technology. I am talking about the displacement. Displacement here clearly does not only mentions the one who loses their job, but displacement here covers the overall economics, one who loses the job and one who gets a new job due to a new industry being created. Due to automation, labors in construction forces, the middle level, the unskilled level, they lose their job up to a certain percentage, but some highly educated people like you people that we are having degrees in engineering and technology, they will get a new job to actually write the AutoCAD softwares. So I am talking about a displacement, not only the person who will lose his or her job. Then identify the new job categories and skill requirement emerging from 3D printing, evaluate the training skill development needed for the workforce transition, and propose policy recommendations for managing labor market disruptions. Literature review going in very short. 3D printing, as I have told you, it's new, but it's changing the ecosystem. IIT Madras, they have built up a small house that's actually ecologically very, very sustainable. What Dr. Manoj sir was talking about, sustainability. it's sustainable, it reduces the waste. The biggest problem in construction industry is the waste and the waste management that you have to do, and that creates more pollution than taking small steps. It's the industry, it's the cement industry, it's the waste management industry, it's the scrap industry that creates the most amount of pollution. So 3D printing helps in lowering the emissions, lowering the waste. Now coming to the literature view on the humanities part, on the labor market part. So when we talk about the labor market in Raipur, for the housing sector, for the housing construction sector, it can be very clearly jotted down into these 4 categories: unskilled workers, the semi-skilled workers, skilled workers, and the supervisors. The supervisors can be the learned persons or degree holders, but the unskilled laborer and the semi-skilled laborer, they are the ones that constitute to the majority of the labor market, 70%, 15 to 25%. They are the ones that will get affected if automation comes into place. Theoretical framework which I have adopted for this particular qualitative research is, first, as proposed by Dr. Keynes, technological unemployment theory. This theory clearly states in a line that if there is a new technology adaptation in a particular industry, there has to be a temporary and a permanent job loss, but that will be accompanied by a new job creation in the allied sector on which the technology is based. Secondly, the job polarization theory. When this theory states that when there is a new technology adaptation in any sector, the job market gets polarized, and it's basically the ones with the less amount of technical knowledge, less amount of formal education, or the aged people who get neglected out of that labor workforce. Coming research methodology, I will take it fast. I have done a literature review of the academic publications, the government records, and the data for the housing and the labor sector. Then the analysis of the market, that how 3D printing is progressing, what are the new technologies, and how the 3D market up here is there. Examination of regional employment statistics and wage structures that is prevailing in Raipur, Chhattisgarh. Review of case studies. This I have done, based upon which I will give the last and yes. Yeah. So assessment and training programs. Analysis, this I have done, wherein I have identified the migration dynamics, gender composition, educational attainment, and employment security of the labor market, and how this labor market is depending upon the housing and construction sector, and what are the skills that is actually prevailing, and what are the skill development initiatives up in place. Then I have actually analyzed the 3D printing in housing sector, how the technology is there, and applicability of the 3D printing. Everywhere the 3D printing is not applicable as of now. The technology is not at matured as of now. So high suitability, moderate suitability, and lower limited suitability. Then we come to the case studies, which I will just take at 10 seconds. In Gujarat, in a very recent case study, there was a automation adaptation, not a new technology. It was a certain process was automated, like material handling. Then on the basis of that case, it was observed that 80% of the women laborers were actually left out of that workforce on just a small sustainable technology automation, not technology change. So this is a highly important case that actually we should consider when we talk about whole industry giving a technology shift from manual laborer to 3D printing. And then we can have international comparisons from Netherlands, where actually they have had a minimal social disruption in their labor workforce, because their GDP, their financial backing of their reserve banks, and their labor unions were very much tolerant, and they were having very rigid social schemes. Now, at last, coming to the findings and conclusions, there will be a significant displacement of the labor market. Labor economics will be shaken up if 3D printing is being accepted even in moderate scale for the housing industry in Raipur, Chhattisgarh. Limited compensation of job creation will be there. The number of job lost will be more to the number of jobs being created for the technical persons we are talking. Skill transformation is will be very limited. The experienced personals who are doing a manual labor job will be unable to transform their skill to AutoCAD or BIS computer oriented softwares overnight, and training will be a challenge because a formal communication channel is multiple huge rapport as a whole. If you walk 10 kilometers, language changes. So how come you can adopt how can you draft a training program for every tehsil, every district there are different demographics, every district there is different caste system. So you have to draft a training program keeping everything in mind. No one should get actually offended. So that is a huge challenge which policymakers have to take up, and there will be much broader implications. These implications I have listed down. Last policy recommendations, I will wind it up. Immediate actions, medium-term actions, and long-term strategic decisions. This I have totally noted. First and foremost, and the last point just to make, the policymakers have to think what in the process that Dr. Manoj sir has taught about. Systematic approach should be there, ethical approach should be there, inclusive approach should be there, and timely manner they have to draft a policy. Thanking you. The research limitations I mentioned up here. Thank you, and these are the references. Yeah, ma'am.
Study has already been completed.
Yeah, this one. Yes.
How can you assess the, or like, what would be the answer will not objective?
Yeah.
Both objective and objective. I just want the 30, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So through for assessment, I have conducted personal interviews with the labor department, the concerned labor market contractors and builders. This was a very qualitative study, and in a short term, I had to give, because this technology was new, and talking about a technology that in which technological changes can happen overnight. 3D printing can be massive, can be massively changed overnight. So for a new technology, in that case, I have to go to the subject matter experts, and I have conducted in-depth interviews with them. The outcome is that the layoffs that will happen for the unskilled and semi-skilled workforce laborers, and the job creation that will happen for the trained professional or the highly skilled manpower, the difference will be very much far bigger than the number of job losses will be far bigger than the number of jobs being created in the highest skilled sector. And this will be happen if we talk about the modern adaptation of technologies in only the urban setting, in the Nagarpalika's Raipur Municipal Corporation limits. If we go for the bigger housing projects that are outside the municipality limits, then this adaptation will go to the higher adaptation rate, and then in that case, because of the villages being involved in the outer sectors, the technology disruption, and then yes, the workforce will suffer the most for the low skilled and semi-skilled workforce. No, in current form, in current policy, it's not sustainable. That's what I'm talking about. Firstly, the labor market up here, I mean, it's demographically challenging. Demographic challenging from what I mean is, in every district, every tehsil, it changes. Every village, it changes. It has a local political influence in it, local caste influence in it. Sorry to bring up the words, but that's the reality, ground reality up here. The government should take up the initiatives, in spite of giving the freebies, giving the free items. They should actually focus on the education, training impartment programs. The policy should be drafted at a central level, at a federal level, and teachers or the educators, I should say educators, they should be actually trained in a systematic way and approach, and that education system, that like the NEP has been implemented, same wise a professional NEP should be made for the labor market, for the unskilled and semi-skilled market.
See, what I think about technology, you're talking about obviously the technology, but not stop.
Yes, ma'am.
But the statement of the labor which is have, I think that this is for the labor that the labor.
Yes, ma'am.
And the policy which we're talking about the commercial thing, which will take a long term.
Long time. Yes,
So
ma'am.
in that time, before the labor will die also.
Correctly.
This will take
Yes.
care of the platform.
Yes, yes.
So you should think upon that, short term also and long term also.
This one.
You should
You should.
incorporate in your project, okay? So short term also and long term also.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
are talking about sustainability and we are going against sustainability.
Yeah, ma'am.
We are talking about sustainability.
Yeah.
And we will have opposite of that.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Part of your
So this is currently not directly part of my PhD work due to time constraints, and I am from this sector as well. Yeah. So yes. So I do have meetings and one-to-one interactions with the policymakers, the decision makers currently in the government and social sector. So this came up to me that this topic should be taken up because this technology is not been taught. This technology has not been talked about. So that's why I took up this one short initiative for this research.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. We have only 2 minutes time for the presentation. We talk about the objectives. Then finally we can come to the findings and answers. Okay, please wait.
Yes.
Yeah, please. Okay. And 2 minutes will give you question answer. Yes, sir.
I invite Mr. Ashish Pulse to present a paper titled Digital Banking Experience and Customer Loyalty in India.
Hey, hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks all. That was quite a presentation. Kudos. Yeah, before the presentations being opened, let me just set the context here. So, and rather being, in that basic paper presentation format, I would rather refer as storytelling because most of us are students only. So, don't want to make it very complicated for you guys to understand what it is and how it is. So the topic is around digital banking and customer experience, and then what is related, the common term between them is loyalty. So how digital banking is affecting positively or negatively the loyalty of the customer, right? Now we have seen, rising cases of customer being due. And now there's a time when we heard a lot of news about digital arrest or scam and financial scams. So on one hand, we are growing on the technology side, and then we are adopting all this Paytm and QR codes payment. We are doing all the payments through online banking and digital banking. Other hand, we have seen a lot of scams and frauds are increasing, and that is where customers become suspicious. And it is affecting to those who are actually not very much technologically enabled, or somewhere they are lacking. They just have started using this, online banking or some digital payment. Yeah, digital payment methods. So that's the topic of my research, right? I wanted to understand what is the thing that is affecting the customer loyalty when it comes to the digital banking. If I just want to communicate the objective of it. So because we have to have some model, model is something on which you understand how to analyze a subject, your topic. So for me, it was circular. It's a jargon. If I be pronouncing it, actually it is service quality dimensions. So the service quality dimensions, what are those dimensions? These are reliability, assurance, tangibility, responsiveness, and empathy. These are 5 dimensions. I think I skipped that slide. Yeah, it is here. Right. So that's the objective. Because we have paucity of time, I just like to jump to the findings. So and then in between because we have to collect some samples, and then we have to interact with the actual users, right? Those who are actually using those digital banking and then doing the online payments. So I connected with them, through few of my friends. because they are actual users. And then I created Google Forms, circulated it to the online web portals where they are actually collecting the feedback from the customer. That's how it was. Now, if I come to the findings, so reliability and assurance, these are the two dimensions which are affecting the loyalty of a customer. And it is when the operation is normal, which in business we say BAU, business as usual. But when it comes to any failure, then the most critical factor is responsiveness. And just to give you an example, right? Because we have seen a lot of this BPOs have increased in India. Why? Because all these MNCs have come to India and they wanted to make sure that whatever products that we are selling, there has to someone who can respond to their queries once the sale is over. After sale service experience, normal in saving terms, but when it comes to banking, let's say your payment has failed, or maybe you have some queries related to your credit card, payment, and then you're saying you saw some message popped up in the mobile and then 10,000 reduction, and then you don't know where to connect. Then immediately there should be someone, should be some line over you can call and can get some response. So that is responsiveness when it comes to failure. So these are the findings of my, yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
I invite Ms. Anjana Vijay to present a paper titled A Study of E-Commerce Packaging for Sustainable Marketing with Indian Consumers.
Yes, ma'am. आगे के लिए सामने वाला दिया जाए.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angela, research scholar from Jena University. I'll be talking about the sustainability when it comes to packaging material while using e-commerce. Technology, as you know, today has become a basic necessity of our life. And even a person living in a rural area is well versed with technology, and using mobile and internet has become very handy nowadays. So with increasing use of internet and e-commerce market, the packaging has also increased. The e-commerce vendors and sites use a lot of packaging materials to deliver products, then consumable materials like transit and transportation to ensure that they are not damaged, right? But how many of us know that these packaging materials which are being used are actually harmful to the environment? E-commerce sites use at least 7 layers of packaging materials, which cause a lot of waste towards the environment. My study was concerned basically within Chhattisgarh state. I have circulated a questionnaire using a Google form, and the Google form was filled by people who live in rural areas, urban areas, and few of metropolitan outside Chhattisgarh state. And you will be surprised to know that the response which I got was very surprising. I used to believe that females were the people who use a lot of topic, but my data shows 59% of men are actually using online sites for shopping, and to add to that, 39.7% of rural area are more utilizing the e-commerce site rather as compared to 38.5% of urban consumers. And it's good to know that consumers are well versed with the fact that the packaging materials which are being used currently are harmful to the environment, and they are very much aware about the how harmful the packaging materials are and they can be. If you go by data, for 451.5 million USD in 2019 was the packaging waste which was found, which has considerably increased to 975.4 million USD in 2025. And if you go by the data, by 2030, only the plastic waste is around 16 million. That is estimated, and this will cause a humongous hazard to the environment if we will not contribute and will not become aware about the packaging waste which is the e-commerce business is causing to us. My study showed that consumers are well aware about the packaging material which are being used, and study shows if my study also shows that consumers are willing to shift the vendors in case the e-commerce sites or the vendors are not willing to change from plastic packaging materials to more sustainable packaging materials. And based on my study, I have found out that since the consumer is now aware about the environment, they are aware about the sustainability. So it's not only the vendor's responsibility to ensure that the sustainability is maintained by using packaging material. Okay, sorry. So before I conducted my study, I have gone through few of the literature by Mr. Sunil and Mekonnen and Moza. And this, they have significantly studied the e-commerce package green environment impacts. What they have studied was more towards the vendor's point of view. Pardon? Okay, fine. Okay, so my study basically, what I have found out is to ensure that environment sustainability is maintained for e-packaging, it's not only the responsibility of the vendors to do it, but it's a whole also responsibility of even the consumers to do. And together only we can succeed with this environment sustainability.
Now I invite Ms. Nitya Jha to present a paper titled Personal Faith or Social Influence, Exploring the Construction of Spiritual Tourism Experiences in Ayodhya and Varanasi.
माउस कहाँ गया माउस नहीं कर गया माउस कहाँ है तब तो करना इसमें प्रेजेंट आगे सैरियर
Shall I start? Before starting my presentation, I'd like to ask each and every one of us present here a question. Before visiting a sacred place, how many of us have actually already seen it on social media? Can anyone raise their hand and tell me? Fine.
So, if we have already imagined a sacred place, so like through digital media and narratives, are we truly experiencing it for the first time? No? Okay. Good evening to one and all present here. My name is Nitya Jha. I am currently pursuing my MBA from Anjana University, Raipur. And today I am here to talk about my study titled Personal Faith or Social Influence, Exploring the Construction of Social Tourism Experiences in Ayodhya and Varanasi. Over the past decade, India has witnessed a substantial increase in spiritual tourism, both in terms of physical footfall and digital visibility. Among these destinations, Ayodhya and Varanasi have gained exceptional prominence or significance, not only as traditional pilgrimage sites, but also as digitally circulated sacred landscapes. This study attempts to examine this intersection through empirical exploration of pilgrimage experiences in Ayodhya and Varanasi. To systematically address this research, there are three key objectives that I have taken. The first objective was to examine whether personal faith continues to serve as the primary motivation for pilgrimage to Ayodhya and Varanasi. The second objective specifically examined whether pre-visit engagement with online content influenced how individuals imagined and anticipated the sacred experiences. The third objective was analytical in nature. Basically, this study investigates how personal faith and social influence coexist and collectively construct a meaning. Together, these objectives allowed us to examine their intersection. Moving further to the research methodology, to address the research objectives, the study adopted a descriptive analytical research design. The study was conducted with a sample of 80 to 100 respondents who had visited Ayodhya and Varanasi in the recent last 2 years. A non-probability convenience sampling technique was used, primarily due to accessibility and time constraints. Primary data was collected through a structured questionnaire and administered via Google Forms. Findings. The finding of the study revealed 5 key insights. First, devotion remains the dominant motivating factor behind pilgrimage. While digital exposure plays a vital role, it does not replace personal faith. Second, social media functions as a pre-experience framing mechanism. It shapes expectations and mental imagery before the journey even begins. Third, spiritual emotion is not experienced in isolation. The collective atmosphere significantly amplifies emotional intensity. Fourth, visitors actively negotiate their experiences between prior expectations and on site reality. Overall, the study suggests that contemporary pilgrimage is neither purely traditional. Conclusion. The study set out to examine how personal faith and social influence interact in shaping spiritual tourism experiences in Ayodhya and Varanasi. The findings clearly demonstrate that devotion remains foundational force in between pilgrimage. Now, I'd like to conclude my presentation by saying contemporary pilgrimage is where timeless belief meets a networked world. Thank you.
I invite Mr. Akash Punjari to present a paper titled Sustainability and Green Consumerism.
ये लगा लो, ये लगा लो। नहीं है, सो लगा दो। तो भी जा रहा है बात। ये रहो। Good afternoon, respected chairpersons, distinguished guests, honorable professors, and fellow researchers. It is my great privilege to present my research paper on a study on sustainable marketing and green consumerism. I am Akash Banjare, studying at Engineering University 6th semester. Today, I will present my research on how sustainable marketing influence green consumer behavior and purchase intention. I'll start with the introduction. In recent years, environmental issues such as climate change, pollution, and resource depletion have become major global concerns. As a result, both businesses and consumers are becoming more environmentally conscious. Sustainable marketing refers to promoting products and services that are environmentally responsible and socially ethical. Green consumerism refers to consumers preferring products that are eco-friendly, recyclable, and environmentally safe. Today's consumers are more aware and concerned about the environmental impact of their purchasing decisions. Companies are increasingly adopting sustainable marketing strategies to improve their brand image, build trust, and gain competitive advantage. Next, the objective of the study. Sorry. Literature review findings. The key findings is that sustainable marketing improves brand image, consumer prefer eco-friendly brands, and they are willing to pay higher prices for sustainable products. Transparency and ethical practices increase consumer trust and loyalty. Conclusion: sustainable marketing has become more essential for modern businesses. It improves brand reputation, builds trust, and supports long-term business success while protecting the environment. Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite Mr. Chirag to present a paper titled Role of Social Media in Ethical Consumer Decisions.
एक बार ट्राई कर चालू
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chirag Patel. I am the student of Engineering University. Okay, pursuing MBA. Now we are moving to the objective. There are many objectives. The first objective analyze the influence of social media on ethical consumer awareness. The second one to understand how social media shape consumer attitude towards the ethical products. The third one to examine whatever ethical awareness leads the actual purchasing. Now directly moving to the findings. The findings are social media strong build ethical awareness. The second, consumer develop positive attitude towards the ethical brands. And third, high price reduce actual pricing. And third, ethical interaction exists, but purchase action is moderate. Then conclusion. Then thank you.
कर्सर आ गए बंद कर दो इसका करना है। रुक जा अभी गूगल मीट पे अभी लिंक आया हुआ है
पावर लिंक थी ना
हाँ,
यही वाली हाँ ईमेल दूसरा डाल दो
अंजनी यूनिवर्सिटी वाला जा रहा है वाईफाई ऑन है ना आना भाई तुझी चला तुम्हारे नेट कैसी तैसी हुई है यहाँ पर भी भी पता भी है सर हो रहा है चाहिए बहुत कम भाई
इसलिए हमें चल रहा है ना
यस सर
ठीक है
गुलाधर कास्ट पे है तो वही नीचे है लेकिन इसका कर्सर बंद हो जा रहा है पता नहीं क्यों बार बार
जरूरत नहीं है माइक की जरूरत नहीं है तो हो जाएगा स्टैंडर्ड है ना
सर हमको एक्सेप्ट करना
बहुत तगड़ा है भाई नेट ठीक है
मजा आ रही
माइक बंद रहने दो। माइक
सर आपको म्यूट करना पड़ेगा, सर म्यूट करना पड़ेगा आपको। आप ये आपसे जा रहा है? नहीं मेरा बंद है, वो स्पीकर के पास है इसलिए आवाज आ रही है। Just give me 1 minute. Technical glitch. Yeah. अभी ठीक है? हम माइक के कारण है माँ। सर ये ऑन करेंगे अपन माइक। वो माइक ऑन करो, यहाँ के माइक से बोलो। ठीक है, ऐसा कर लो। Yeah, just a second. Yeah, please.
Dr. Kashif is a cross-border venture builder and growth architect working across Asia, the Middle East, and with over 2 decades of experience, he has supported more than 30 brands and venture-led companies across sectors such as healthcare, fintech, AI, industrial technology, media, and consumer marketing. His expertise lies in product market fit and complex deal structuring. Throughout his career, his work has intersected with global organizations, including Toyota, TDS, and P&G. Before founding Foxcar, he played a key role in scaling Activo Labs internationally, driving expansion and investor engagement with institutions such as Mastercard, AXA, SBI Healthcare, and Britannia. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Bhavik Bhatt. Please, sir.
Yeah, you're muted. Just a minute. I can hear you from my mobile. Let me see if you can watch it from the screen and listen to it from the screen. Yeah, it's completely fine now. Completely fine my mic. Putting on my mic.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
The television is good. And we will need to now. One small correction, I'm not Dr. Bhavik. And I wish I would do, hopefully I'll be one soon, but not yet. Thank you. And I will now like to take you through some of the courses that I have in sharing with you. Building ratios across markets and across markets. So, as I said, it's a introduction by now. And I have started get funded. I mean, start across very quickly. And we start all and we start in our markets are Asia, essentially means that respond to one market to another, and oftentimes welcome without anything we need to get profit from extra it's along the lines, and I think as far as what consumer on one class is how important it is extending the integration and start to think about it. One of the biggest questions that I like is does simulation scale depend on the not? So, talk about to innovate, and a lot of people have spent a lot of time to build amazing technologies, invent new technologies and processes and software. AI is accelerating that process. And a lot of these new ideas land in the market at breakneck speed. What we do is we work with these organizations across the seed round, Series A, Series B, Series and so on and so forth to see how we can scale these businesses. And that's where the biggest challenges are. So a lot of people, especially those working in innovation, are looking for money, are looking for capital. A lot of the startup ecosystems are capital dependent. And I'm here to tell you that there is actually no scarcity of capital. The challenge is, can we make commercialization work? Can we take an idea from innovation to scale in a way that really makes sense for the market? And that's where we, in my business, in my practice, across health systems, fintech companies, enterprise sustainability, mobility, climate tech, all of which are now superpower with AI. And increasingly across those verticals, we have seen some common patterns. And you observe the friction that appears, and most of the time it appears after there is content. So this is typically the antithesis of your innovation or your innovators' dilemma, where a founder has a strong idea and is backed by a core team of typically the supporters, his friends, or like-minded people, and some seed capital. Now, it doesn't have to be a founder in the Silicon Valley or Bangalore. This is equally people for agri-tech and climate tech and a lot of even smaller sustainability projects happening across our country, where ideas go into the pilots, and oftentimes they also get the capital that they are looking for, which is the idea, and that's when the challenge happens. So this is the biggest change that we have seen in India in the last 10 years, and has been the case in many Southeast Asian as well as the markets as well. India has been a lot of money in pilots into the funding stream. We now have funding, and we see this stall happen after the funding stage. Renewals will happen, innovation fair. And today's conversation, I really want to focus on the B2B space and the B2C space. So if you think about the diagnostic tool in my hospital, it's something that benefits the end user. It's sold by a business, bought by a business, but the eventual beneficiary is the end user, and therefore it's B2B. The same is true for microloans, the same is true for software that purchases electricity in your house. In each of these cases, we are talking about a B2B software. The today's conversation will revolve around B2B and B2C models. And the challenge that we are seeing, where despite having money, the scale doesn't matter, and the scale reaches a point of ceiling of growth. And really, this is not about the founder. It's not the team's doing, it's not the founder's doing. Really, it's the capital doing. The venture capital companies, the corporate ventures, the financing teams, they're all doing their flagship fund-like ideas, but they're not thinking about certain things. They're not thinking about the structure that makes ambition translates to share. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, like I said, there is no dearth of capital. Just in the global energy investment, and we have seen $2 billion global investment. And the next year is going to be more big. And again, if you look at the startups, 70% of the startups fail at Series A. And Series A is significant because most of the companies get to anywhere between $1 to $5 million on an average. And Series B companies, they give more money, and yet only 90% of the companies get to that point. And so what we're seeing is that innovation is starting to fail despite getting the funding. Therefore, today's conversation will be about funded and get ready. And so getting funded is common during the stage. And that's what we were talking about. And I've done some deep studies on the Indian market as well as global market in India. We've seen the EV case, the electric car, the taxi, the mobility, agri-tech examples, health-tech examples. I'm not getting news, and I worked with some companies myself outside of India as well. And we can see that there is a pattern of repeatable brokenness that consistently the failure happens around a certain point post funding, and that's what we're interested in. If the idea was not good enough, you will not get enough. And if there is no money in your system, we can then attribute that to economic weakness. But if the idea is strong and there is money and yet something doesn't work, it definitely needs to be looked into. And that is the area of interest for me, especially when it comes to the future of India. And so what we started to talk about there is the shift from product meeting to marketing. Most innovators, founders, and students, when they're out of their academic space and starting to get into the industry, think about products. Does it work? Is there a demand for it? It's a very big question that you have to deal with. Can I place the product in the market? Does it work? Is there regular proof that I can make this technology, solution, data science model, and community operational? And a lot of questions from there. And so if you can see the small piece of tech working, and you see that there is demand in the market, then you want to take that to the market and say, can you experience? The problem is, we're not thinking about what is called as complementary aspects. And this is essentially about repeatability. Is there a routine in the renewal of this product or this technology or this expertise? Right? Can we make the buying process so simple, so repeatable, and boring that it becomes a no-brainer? And therefore, what we need to do is a market architecture and what we call it a commercial architecture around this innovation, this product technology, and therefore we can then have distribution, business, and financing that. Lots of work and lots of work on the small side, so I think we have a great down. What do we mean by market architecture? The deliberate design of incentives, adoption sequences, risk allocation, and capital time. This is what converts a pilot into repeatable buying behavior. Now, these are four simple words and they matter a lot when it comes to success or failure of sustainable innovation, and therefore we're going to talk about how we're teaching. The first one that we spoke about is the incentives, the incentive architecture of the economics. Now, in a lot of cases, we see that the buyer is different from the beneficiary and is different from the approval. So if you think about a simple case where a family has gone to a toy shop, the mother buys the toy, she buys, she gives the licensing, the kid is the beneficiary, and it's the father who decides whether or not it makes sense to spend that money in the first place, and then whether it makes sense to buy a second toy or to go back to the toy shop at all, right? And this is what happens across every single sector. If you go healthcare, it's the doctor who must benefit from diagnosis technology. It is the patient or the insurance company who is paying for it. It is the CFO who is approving the payment. But when it comes to renewal of the contract on an annual basis, you have to go to procure. And the same thing happens in the printed organization, and the same thing happens in the government sector, and the same thing happens in energy and every single space. Your buyer, your beneficiary, and your renewing agency are typically not the same. And therefore, we say that adoption is not moral, it's not good enough that your product works. Having a good product is not the answer. Having to figure out the economics and the KPIs that matter to different stakeholders during a ecosystem, because they get deeper things from the same solution that we provide. Next, we talk about adoption pathways, and so we see that in a lot of companies, every sale needs the founder to show up in person. Every sale requires you to create customize requirements, make adjustments to the product, make adjustments to the technology, and therefore the adoption pathway from one customer to the next is a very sweet now. Integration takes time, typically the legacy systems takes time, and so when you're developing a new technology or product, it is time consuming for the buying organization to take the product and make sense. And this is where the challenge lies. If every single sale is not easier than the last one, every single new customer is not more standardized than the last one, we're not designing for that. And this is where, again, you can see in private tech, a lot of legacy systems are involved in the existing. Our infrastructure is there. Sometimes it's very, very old. The processes and the people who don't have our systems are deeply embedded in legacy systems. And so, if we have to create a system that then has to adapt every time they introduce you to a new market or new customer, it's just not going to work. And so, what we need is a level of increasing automation in the buying cycle. Every time we buy this software, technology, process, product, whatever it is that we're selling, we need to get more and more standardized, and that's where we are. Risk allocation. Now, this is something that we have seen a couple of very big failures in India. And that because we are not looking at who bears the risk of a design product or a technology. So when we talk about innovation, we are introducing softwares and systems that have not been used before. And when they are needed, sometimes they don't work in them. And that's where, as software companies and technology companies, we encourage people to think about who is actually bearing the risk. So let me give you a very simple example. There's a reason why the solar panel market has exploded in India. India is one of the largest consumers of solar panels, especially in the domestic market. Household, offices, and small organizations are the ones who are buying the solar panels. And there is a reason why it happened. There was some major change in the business model that led to de-risking of owning a solar panel. What do you mean by that? Initially, someone had to pay, let's say, 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs to install a panel on the rooftop. And the installer paid the panel care, and that which means the performance risk of whether that panel works or not, whether the heating works or not, whether it's going to be or not, was completely borne by the end. What happened is, we have a new model where the buyer is going to pay monthly, which means the performance risk is now moved to the vendor, and so the vendor is responsible to stop working in the middle of the night, and the financial risk has now moved to the financier, to the bank or financial institution, which is allowing the installment model to happen. The risk has suddenly spread across 3 different parties, and therefore it becomes not feature the stage all the time. In the same way, when you're doing business in a European space, you need to think about how do we reduce the risk. Can you take warranty? So if you find partners who can pull off the risk of adopting new technology so that we can make it easier from the burden. Productivity example, when you introduce a new AI tool, for example, that is going to do the process that usually takes 3 days without the intelligence. But it's costly. And the cost of that technology has to be borne by someone who also understands it. So we don't think that organization is let's say, not towards the technology. If a wrong person has the tools of training God, the time, all the financial institutions, they go on and in software, is going to face brand risk, which will also face financial risk. And so they need to show relation of these and that kind of capital planning, again, before the final vertical, when the to every new organization or it's funding the cost to hire new people so you can handle their customers, that is not growth money. that is market and justified. They slow and it has a little risk associated with it. And so when it comes to financing, it's important to understand that there needs to be a repeatable business model that has low or no cost of growth and margin and can be deployed with minimal friction and nearly. That is the time where it goes on the So whether you're on the financial side, whether you are on the system side, or people depending upon the our founder, you really need to think about where are the money and what is the money. Because that matters quite a lot. Because whatever it is that you do right now, whatever the state of your market activity, capital will manage that. And so if you're running slow and running against friction, that's all people doing with more money and more money will go off the bank. And so really the core package that we're looking at here is the shift, the risk of incentives needs to be looked into. That's a failure point. The right verification needs to be verified at the right time. Single error and a highly off articulation is absolutely critical. Risk concentration in the wrong place. If the end user expectation of this, or the CFO expectation of this, that causes friction. And lastly, if your costs, especially these costs, are constantly moving up as you scale, that also is a very big sign that there will be market failure. And so the idea of all of this is thinking about it in the long term as to what it is as a solid market applications can be placed to make innovation scale in a sustainable manner. And so these are the four pillars that I would say, four components that we constantly need to look at for repeatable adoption of new software, new systems, and more. Incentives, pathways, capital timing, and rehabilitation. These matter a lot. Especially when you're going to new markets, and this is people who live in India, right? So even in India, when the business is far out of, let's say Maharashtra, we go to the north, it's completely different demonstration. Winning fast is different effort. Getting a contract is significantly time of negotiation. And people looking to expand outside of India, which is a lot of where we are based, using Asian companies, Indian companies, and Western markets, for example. And you know, for example, of Silicon Valley companies from Asia, we spend a lot of time talking about what are the procurement cycles, what is the partnership like, how is the pricing going to be, because these are the parts of the market I take that's going beyond the part. And that's really a whole responsibility. And so here is where I think I'll leave you with, I don't too much time. The next generation of the leaders are not just emerging, they are architecting markets. And therefore, I'll leave that with that one question. Are we making a product or are we creating a market? The same relation is came from our lens. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes, sir. There, we are literally listening to you. Just give me a minute. I can. So my partner,
Thank you so for your valuable words. As a humble yet sincere token of a deep recognition, we present this marriage as a humble yet sincere token of a deep. Thank you so for your valuable words. As a humble yet sincere token of a deep appreciation, we present this memento in recognition of your valuable contribution and gracious presence at this international conference. Now I would like to request Dr. Jay Devarapalli sir to kindly present memento to our guest speaker.
yes, इसको बंद करना है क्या? हाँ सर, इसको बंद करना है ना अभी।
और कोई तो नहीं है।
Now, I would like to request Mr. Gyanendra Kumar to present a paper titled Role of Digital Marketing Strategies for Circular Economy, a comparative study on fast fashion versus electronic industries. एक वेदांत के पास है। ये बता मेरा है कि नहीं अभी भाई, मैम से थोड़ा मैं पूछ लूं। मैम पहले ऑनलाइन वालों को लेना है कि ऑफलाइन? ऑनलाइन अलग चल रहा है। अच्छा ठीक है इसके बाद शीतल। हाँ इनके बाद इनके बाद ठीक है। अब मैं बैठे मेरे को एक चीज बताओ, अभी ये ऑफलाइन वाले अभी बोलेंगे ऑनलाइन अंदर चल रहा है, बस ऑफलाइन नहीं, ऑफलाइन बस बस इतना ही है। और सुनने वाला कौन है? कोई गेस्ट तो है ही नहीं। अब आना ना मैम। और मार्क्स कौन देगा? ले आओ मैम देगी। एक उदिता मैम को दे दो, बाकी कर उदिता मैम आ जाओ। जजमेंट मैम आ गया। कैमरा को उस तरफ कर। ये ना दो, इसको मत दिखा, सिर्फ इतना दिखा।
Good evening to all. Myself Gyanendra Kumar, research scholar from INCON Center. Today I am going to present a research paper titled
नवीन कौन है?
Digital Marketing as a Catalyst for Circular Economy Transition. I study on sustainable consumption practices in the fast fashion and electronic industry.
चीज उसको देना, तुझे कहीं नहीं।
This is introduction. The problem is linear take disposed model is now बहुत पुराना हो चुका है। इसकी जगह एक नया मॉडल आया है, क्योंकि इसमें क्या होता है कि
तो प्रॉब्लम इस क्या है कि जो पुराना प्रोडक्शन लीनियर मॉडल था, तो उसमें हम क्या करते थे, ओनली प्रोडक्शन करके सामान बेचते थे, ओनली दैट इज द पर्पज। नाउ द सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी का मेन पर्पज क्या है कि एक प्रोडक्ट मटेरियल और किसी भी गुड्स को लॉन्ग टर्म यूजेबल बनाना, ताकि उसको दोबारा से रीयूज करके जो हमारा वेस्टेज है उसको हम कम कर पाए। सोल्यूशन क्या है? तो जो सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी है सोल्यूशन प्रोवाइड करता है कि जो भी हमारे वेस्टेज हो रहे हैं रिसोर्सेज को, उनको लॉन्ग टर्म में हम कैसे रीयूज रिसाइकल करके दोबारा से उसको रीयूजेबल बना दें।
तो डिजिटल मार्केटिंग कैसे रोल प्ले करता है, तो हम डिजिटल मार्केटिंग के थ्रू कंज्यूमर को अवेयर कर सकते हैं थ्रू स्टोरी टेलिंग एंड उसके परसेप्शन को चेंज कर सकते हैं थ्रू वेरियस कैंपेन्स। रिसर्च गैप मैंने क्या देखा था, तो इसमें डज डिजिटल मार्केटिंग ट्रूली स्केल सर्कुलर कंजम्पशन और इट इज ग्रीन वॉशिंग, एकेडमिक इंटीग्रेशन और डिजिटल मार्केटिंग विद circular economy remains is pause. So this is my objective of the study. Access the effectiveness of the digital marketing is stimulating sustainable consumer behavior. Second objective, compare the impact of sustainable digital campaigns on the consumer awareness across fast fashion and electronic industries. Third, propose the digital circular marketing model as a conceptual framework linking digital marketing construct with circular economy transition. This is the literature review which I divided in 4 construct: circular economy concept, digital marketing, consumer behavior and sustainable consumption, and digital marketing in fast fashion and electronic industry. This is my research methodology. Research design will be mixed method research design. I use quantitative data from McKinsey and Statista, Ellen MacArthur Foundation's reports. I use the data, and qualitative data I take from peer-reviewed journals, brand case studies, and policy documents, structure thematic analysis. Framework DCM model developed inductively validated against industry-specific brand campaigns. This is a finding data analysis digital marketing mechanism. Digital marketing mechanism in fast fashion and electronic इंडस्ट्री एंड प्राइमरी सर्कुलर आउटकम क्या है उसका, तो ग्रीन कंटेंट मार्केटिंग फास्ट फैशन ज्यादा यूज करता है एज कंपेयर टू इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंडस्ट्री। इसका आउटकम है क्या, अवेयरनेस एंड एटीट्यूड को चेंज करना। नेक्स्ट है इको इन्फ्लुएंसर एंगेजमेंट। फास्ट फैशन में क्या होता है कि जो फास्ट फैशन बहुत जल्दी चेंजेस हो जाते हैं, तो इन्फ्लुएंस होने की वजह से बहुत ज्यादा हाई है एज कंपेयर टू इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंडस्ट्री। प्राइमरी सर्कुलर आउटकम क्या है, सेकंड हैंड परचेज इंटेंट। नेक्स्ट है डिजिटल नजिंग ई कॉमर्स। फास्ट फैशन में मॉडरेट है एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंडस्ट्रीज में हाई है। इसका आउटकम क्या है, इको प्रोडक्ट सिलेक्शन। गेमिफिकेशन ऑफ सस्टेनेबिलिटी, फास्ट फैशन में मॉडरेट है एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स में भी मॉडरेट है। रिपीट सर्कुलर बिहेवियर आउटकम है। नेक्स्ट ट्रांसपेरेंसी एंड ट्रेसेबिलिटी, फास्ट फैशन में बहुत ज्यादा हाई है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक में उससे भी ज्यादा हाई है। आउटकम क्या है, ब्रांड ट्रस्ट है, रीयूज इंटेंशन। दिस इज द चार्ट व्हिच shows the post campaign behavior of the customer or circular economy behavior. So there is fast fashion and electronic industry. जब कैंपेन के बाद एक्चुअल क्या चेंजेस आते हैं कस्टमर के बिहेवियर में, दैट इज shows the सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी अवेयरनेस पोस्ट कैंपेन। तो यहाँ पे फास्ट फैशन में 67% है एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक में 52%। सेकेंड हैंड परचेज में क्या है 41%, फास्ट फैशन एंड 27% है। आपका इलेक्ट्रॉनिक में टेक बैक प्रोग्राम अगर देखें तो फास्ट फैशन में कम है जबकि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक में ज्यादा है। विद पे बिलिंगनेस टू पे प्रीमियम वहां पे 49% है, यहाँ पे 39% है। एंड peer recommendation for 55% fast fashion and 44% electronic industry. This is the comparison table between pre and post digital green campaigns behavioral change. तो कंज्यूमर इकोनॉमी सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी अवेयरनेस की अगर बात करें तो प्री 34 है, लेकिन अगर कैंपेन के बाद देखें तो कस्टमर के बिहेवियर में चेंज आ रहा है जो कि वो 67% हो जा रहा है। सेकेंड हैंड है रिवर्स फिश परचेज भी अगर देखें तो प्री में 22% है, फास्ट फैशन 41% आफ्टर द कैंपेन। टेक बैक रिसाइकलिंग पार्टिसिपेशन की बात करें तो फास्ट फैशन में प्री में 11% एंड 29% आफ्टर। विलिंगनेस टू पे सर्कुलर प्रीमियम देन 31% प्री है एंड 49% फास्ट है। सिमिलरली ऐसे अगर हम देखें इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंडस्ट्री की बात करें तो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक में प्री में अगर सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी अवेयरनेस की बात करें तो 28% प्री है एंड पोस्ट है 52%। ऐसे कंपैरिजन अगर ओवरऑल देखें तो 24% का जो परसेंटेज है वो ओवरऑल ज्यादा है। ऐसे सब में थोड़ा थोड़ा सा पॉजिटिव परसेंटेज आ रहा है। तो यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं कि अगर ग्रीन कैंपेन्स के थ्रू कस्टमर के बिहेवियर को अगर हम चेंज करते हैं तो उससे हमारा रिजल्ट बेहतर होता है। This is the model based on 5 pillars: input, activation, nudge and feedback, then trust. So this shows the circular outcome, awareness and attitude, social norm shift, second and intent, and eco-product selection at point of decision, repeat circular behavior, reinforcement, and brand trust, long-term reuse intention. Key findings shows that 5 mechanism identified, which is already mentioned, that green content marketing, eco-influencer engagement, digital nudging, gamification, and transparency tools each activate distinct consumer psychology. फास्ट फैशन एडवांटेज क्या है, तो हमने देखा था हायर अवेयरनेस है, प्री और जो पोस्ट में हमने कंपैरिजन देखा तो हायर अवेयरनेस है 33% का हमने देखा, पीआर रिकमेंडेशन 27% एंड गेन्स पोस्ट कैंपेन ड्रिवन बाय विजुअल इमोशनल सोशल कंटेंट अमंग मिलेनियल्स एट जेन ज़ी। इलेक्ट्रॉनिक एडवांटेज की बात करें तो सुपीरियर टेक बैक पार्टिसिपेशन है। यहाँ पे आपने एक चीज अनुभव किया, आप करते भी होंगे कि अब जब नया कोई इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सामान खरीदते हैं तो वो आपको एक्सचेंज की भी फैसिलिटी प्रोवाइड करते हैं, पुराना आपसे ले लेते हैं और नया आपको प्रोवाइड कर देता है। गेमिफिकेशन, क्रॉस सेक्टर विलिंगनेस टू पे कंज्यूमर, सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी, प्रीमियम राइजिंग, डीसीएम मॉडल, वैलिडेट फ्रेमवर्क। दिस इज कंक्लूजन and this is implications, managerial implication, marketing implication, policy implication, and theoretical implication. This is the future research scope. Thank you so much.
Now, I would like to invite Mr. Shekhar Paswan to present a paper on green finance and sustainable investment strategies.
ये भाई माइक में क्या करने से लगा हो जाएगा लगा रहे कैसे करने से कुछ नहीं, आगे आगे करोगे तो ऐसे करना, कैसे करना, इससे पीछे, इससे आगे, इससे आगे, ठीक ठीक समाई से बोलिए, ठीक। Hello everyone. Sorry. Good evening everyone. And I would like to present my topic. And my topic is green finance and sustainable investment strategies. What is green finance? Green finance is not just a trend. It's an important pillar for future. It's a transition shift between traditional finance to modern finance system, which help us to balance growth with sustainability. Next. Objectives. To understand the concept and context of green finance, to analyze sustainable investment strategies such as ESG and green bonds. Here, ESG stands for environmental, social governance. Third is to evaluate financial and environmental benefits of green investment. Fourth is to identify challenges and regulatory gaps in green finance.
From the Department of English.
Previous study indicates that green finance contributes to long-term financial stability and sustainable growth.
Next is Krishna Kumar. He is my scholar.
So it is findings.
Okay.
So mainstream, the global green economy reached a valuation of 7.9 trillion in 2025, accounting for 8.6% of all listed equities. Solar dominance. Solar energy has become the largest single item in global power investment, projected to reach 450 billion in 2025 alone. Okay, next. India's leadership. India added a record 44.5 gigawatt of renewable capacity in 2025, nearly doubling its previous year performance. Next is capacity growth. Global renewable power capacity reached 4,448 gigawatt by the end of 2024 with solar and wind accounting. Next is conclusion. Green finance has evolved from a niche concept to a central pillar of modern financial system. Sustainable investment strategies not only generate financial returns but also contribute to environmental sustainability and climate risk. Strong policy frameworks like transparent ESG reporting and financial innovation are essential for strengthening green finance globally. Future scope over. Yeah. Next is the global green economy is now worth 7.9 trillion. Green finance has moved from a specialized segment to mainstream pillar of global finance. In conclusion, future focus must be on AI, efficiency and critical minerals like lithium. Thank you very much.
Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Naveen Tiwari to present his paper titled Beyond the Screen, a conceptual analysis of consumer behavior and brand engagement in virtual marketing ecosystems.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Naveen. I am from Engineering University. Today, my topic. Today, I am presenting my research paper. Beyond the screen, a conceptual analysis of consumer behavior and brand engagement in virtual ecosystem. Let's start with introductions. पहले ट्रेडिशनल मार्केटिंग ट्रांजैक्शनल थी, बट अब कंपनी प्रोडक्ट सेल करती थी और कंज्यूमर उसको परचेज किया करता था. बट लेकिन अब मार्केटिंग इमर्सिव और रिलेशनशिप डाइवर्जन हो चुकी है. ब्रांड और कंज्यूमर इंटरैक्ट करते हैं, जिसमें सोशल मीडिया, वीआर, एआर प्लेटफॉर्म्स, मेटावर्सेस प्लेटफॉर्म्स में ई कॉमर्स पे आ चुके हैं. ऑब्जेक्टिव्स पे आते हैं. कंज्यूमर सेटिस्फेक्शन होते हैं, इसमें टेक्नोलॉजी आती है, टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सेप्टेंस एंड रॉयल्टी रहता है. जैसे कि एग्जांपल देना चाहूंगा लेंसगार्ड का. उसने एआर फीचर लॉन्च किया है, जिसमें हमारे फेस के लेंथ और विड्थ को एनालाइज करके जो भी सुटेबल हमारे लिए स्पेक्स रहते हैं उसको एनालाइज करते हैं. और एआर से रिलेटेड एक और सॉफ्टवेयर है जिसका नाम है आइका सॉफ्टवेयर. हमें अगर कुछ भी सोफा वगैरह परचेज करना है तो हम उस पे उस सॉफ्टवेयर का यूज करके 3D प्लेटफॉर्म पे देख सकते हैं कि कौन सा सुटेबल है और कौन सा सही है. वैसे मिंत्रा ने भी अब 2D डायमेंशन से 3D डायमेंशन पे शिफ्ट कर चुका है. उन्होंने शुगर लिपस्टिक भी लॉन्च किया है, जिसपे वो शूट कर रहे थे, नहीं हम देख सकते. यस लेंसगार्ड एंड आइकन सॉफ्टवेयर लॉन्च किया है. फाइंडिंग्स पे अगर इम्पल्स बाइंग इंक्रीज किया जाता है, जैसे कि जोमेटो पे कोई भी चीज हमें प्रोडक्ट करना है, प्रोडक्ट रहते हैं तो हमें उसको परचेज करने के इंटेंशन आते हैं. उसके बाद आते हैं एआई सेटिस्फेक्शन, वर्चुअल एक्सपीरियंस आते हैं, इन्फ्लुएंस कोलैबोरेशंस, क्रेडिबिलिटी हो जाता है. और कंक्लूजन पे आता है वर्चुअल मार्केट इकोसिस्टम ने कंज्यूमर ब्रांड को रिलेशनशिप ट्रांसफॉर्म कर दिया है. इंटरएक्टिविटी, पर्सनलाइजेशन और सोशल प्रेजेंस, ट्रस्ट एंड अटैचमेंट बिल्ड कैसे किया जाता है. भाई खत्म कर देता हूं. इम्प्लीकेशंस पे देते हैं, जैसे कि डेटा ड्रिवन सेगमेंट रहेगा,
omnichannel strategy, experience centric strategy, and transfer to the data. एक एग्जांपल देना चाहूंगा, जैसे एप्पल या विजन प्रो आप लोगों ने क्या कभी यूट्यूब पे सर्च किया है, तो उन्होंने स्टार्टिंग किया था 2 फरवरी 2024 पे, तो उन्होंने 10 डेज के अंदर पे ही कितना 2 लाख यूनिट को सेल कर दिया गया, और 2024 में ही 1 मिलियन यूनिट को सेल किया गया। वो 3D लैमिनेशन सॉफ्टवेयर रहते हैं उसपे, जिसपे जैसे चेंज कर देता है।
Now, I'd like to invite Ms. Janvi Garg to present the paper titled Digital Transformation and Future of Work.
So just a second. I remember that over to
In 1900, there were employers in corporations. In 2000, there were corporations. But today, the largest workforce is in an organization. Today,
चल भाई
there
हो
are
गया,
40
मेरा
different
टेंशन
organizations.
खत्म।
You're working for. Evening again, sir. Good evening, everyone, and my respected panel. Today, I will be discussing how digital transformation is not just changing the business, but it is redefining the very meaning of
कोई
work.
दिक्कत नहीं। हाँ हमारे भाई भेजते भाई।
Digital transformation refers to the integration of technology such as artificial intelligence, automation, cloud systems, and data analytics, digital platforms into organizational process. The transformation is fundamentally altering how business operates, how employers work, and how customers interact with markets. The major objective of this study is to examine the impact of AI and automation on business process, to analyze the growing roles of data analytics, fintech, and business intelligence. To understand emerging workforce models such as remote work and gig employment. The study of the review saying that AI enhances efficiency by demands workforce space sharing. The gig economy increases flexibility but reduces job security. HR functions becoming more technology driven. Data is emerging as a strategic organizational asset. At the conclusion, I only want to say that digital transformation is not just optional, but it is inevitable. Today, the future of work will not belong only to the organizations which are using technology, but to the ones who are adapting it. Thank you. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Gyanendra Kumar to present the paper titled Role of Digital Marketing Strategies for Circular Economy. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Mayank Sawant to present the paper titled Risk Management and Financial Innovation in Retail Store in Raipur City.
कौन सा माइक वाला माइक ये वाला ना ये ना ये तो ना ये तो ना था ये तो नीचे किसने हो नीचे का ये बस ये ठीक गुड My name is Matt Solon from Anjali University, and my topic is risk management and financial innovation in retail store of Raipur City, Chhattisgarh. Sir, retail sector की इकोनॉमी रिटेल सेक्टर है तो मेन इकोनॉमी है सर, लेकिन रिटेल सेक्टर पे कुछ तरह का रिस्क होता है, जैसे कि कैश फ्लो प्रॉब्लम, cash flow problem, stock management, and customer payment. इसलिए रिस्क मैनेजमेंट बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी हो जाता है। रिस्क मैनेजमेंट का मतलब होता है कि बिजनेस में होने वाले खतरे को पहले से समझ कर आगे बढ़ा आगे हाँ
जैसा कि बिजनेस में होने वाले खर्चों को पहले से प्रेडिक्ट कर जाएगा, उसे कम से कम करने का प्रयास करना। आज के टाइम में फाइनेंशियल इनोवेशन रिटेल बिजनेस को इम्प्रूव कर रहा है। अभी रायपुर की मार्केट ग्रोथ स्टेज में है। जैसे कि अभी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैज प्रमोटेड तो यूपीआई, क्यूआर कोड, बिलिंग सिस्टम एंड अकाउंट सॉफ्टवेयर। मेन मिशन से है सर कि रायपुर सिटी में 1 लाख प्लस स्मॉल एंड मीडियम एंटरप्राइजेस है, जिसमें अभी रिस्क मैनेजमेंट और फाइनेंशियल इनोवेशन बहुत जरूरी है। जब 40 ऑफलाइन स्टूडेंट का जब रिसर्च करें तो पाया गया कि सर यस सर कि रायपुर में मेन प्रॉब्लम ये है सर कि ज्यादातर स्टोर में इन्वेंट्री मैनेजमेंट नहीं हो पाता। डिजिटल पेमेंट में मेन दिक्कत जा रही है। और कंक्लूजन में यह है सर कि अगर रिटेल स्टोर में प्रॉपर रिस्क मैनेजमेंट एंड फाइनेंशियल इनोवेशन का यूज करें तो रायपुर की रिटेल सेक्टर काफी हद तक ग्रो कर सकता है। थैंक यू मैम।
जीवना आज नहीं हो पाया है, सॉरी बेटा आप लोग
Thank you everyone for your presence. I would like to conclude this presentation today. Thank you everyone.
Yes.